Hey everybody, today is Saturday, June 22nd, 2024. I'm Gene and welcome to Hanging with Uncle. We apologize for not doing a show last night. Zane is under the weather and I wish my brother a speedy recovery. Um, and it kind of threw me off because, um, number one, I wasn't prepared to do anything by myself because I anticipated working with Zane, and I don't want to put out crap just talk to be talking. So I just decided, to apply the safe logic. When you have nothing positive to say, don't say anything, or at least informative to say. So that's why I'm doing the show now this morning. So um, please hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, the like button, and click that notification bell so you don't miss whenever we go live and put new content out there. And today I want to talk about the Supreme Court and not just what they're doing and the rulings they've made, because one thing I have not heard on any news outlet, whether it be conservative in the middle or liberal. I have not heard anyone talk about consequences because although Dobbs was consequential, it didn't merit what I think is a possibility to happen. Um, when they decided banning bump stocks was not constitutional. That's another real huge one in a lot of Americans' opinions because automatic weapons are already banned. So making something legal that takes a semi automatic weapon and makes it an automatic weapon is illogical. So, the Supreme Court doesn't give me any faith at all that they're capable of doing the right thing because uh, the one the one decision they still have not come out with, even though just yesterday, they said no, people that have convictions for domestic violence cannot own a gun. They still have not tackled the big issue, the big elephant in the room, and that is the question of total presidential immunity. Now, I think because it is taking so long, I've heard this is, um, you know, adjudication by delay. So to make sure that no cases get heard before the election, which I think is insanity because that is denying us, the voters, the information we need to make an informed decision on who we vote for. Okay. Number one, I don't believe in the case against either of them's age because I don't believe in age discrimination. Look what Warren Buffett's done at his age. Look at what Rupert Murdoch has done at his age. The list can go on. So I don't buy the age discrimination theory. Just because somebody is 81 years old or 78 years old, they're too old for something. Because you can either be old and sharp as a tack and have all your wits, or you can be old and senile. There are two different ways. Now, I can tell you one piece of information that I've seen now was when Biden it looked like he was wandering off and meandering into nowhere. The New York Post made this thing, when in reality, their biased and misleading and lying media deliberately cut the person out of the photo that President Biden was talking to. So, it's like, please be careful where you get your information because the New York Post has no credibility. But anyway, the issue on immunity, because the Supreme Court has not done anything, I fear what will be the repercussion if they say, yes, he has immunity or some form of immunity and therefore cannot be prosecuted. I think then you would see protest en masse in the streets all over this country, because that ruling would kill democracy. We would have an autocracy in the United States, whether it be in the form of a monarch or a despot. We cannot have that kind of society here. And what I fear is people taking to the streets to protest, and rightfully so. And when I say protest, I mean within the confines of the First Amendment and freedom of speech and assembly, and that you can chant things and hold signs as long as you're not committing crimes like blocking traffic or vandalizing buildings. There are ways to legally do it. What I fear is that the nut jobs on the right will look at the protesters as targets and kick off a civil war. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it's something that I think is foreseeable, okay? Because we've seen what these wackos are capable of doing. Just look at January 6th, 3 years ago. The potential is there, the rhetoric is there, and I see them looking at it as an opportunity of, hey, we finally get to use the guns. So what I ask, if somebody receives this message in a bottle, is to rethink your strategy. Instead of being targets openly in the street, think of another plan of action that eliminates that but is still effective. Okay? Now, I'm not in a position to make that decision. Nobody's really asked. But again, just foreseeable. And this is something that I learned in law school. After I retired from Compton PD, I went to law school. And one thing in criminal law and in tort law, which is like a civil wrong, like, somebody hit your car. Okay, that's a civil wrong. That's not a crime. And if negligence is involved, then the question to be asked is, what would the reasonable man do? Okay, and the standard of that, one of the standards of that anyway, is foreseeability. Is the foreseeability of your actions foreseeable enough to expect this kind of reaction? And that's why they're fighting so hard to stop the case going on in Tanya Chutkin's court, because they don't want that evidence, those facts, brought to a jury and have the case never decided. That cannot happen. So Supreme Court, do the right thing. We do not have any instance in this country where someone is above the law. And I've heard the argument made, well, if it was done during the legal course of his actions as president, again, name one legal action that involves committing a crime under the definition of the criminal code. It's not there. It's an oxymoron. It makes no sense. So, again, I already know how two of the justices are going to decide this, and it hurts. I just hope that Justice Roberts, who is the Supreme Court Justice, the top justice, and one other conservative justice think about, okay, well, if a president has total immunity, what if Biden decided to take Trump out? We'd still have a civil war, but at least that moron would be gone. Would he have immunity? Or is it only immunity if Republicans do it? So think about that. Anyway, I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Please let me know in the comments section. And I want to go into another topic, something I've been thinking about, because lately I find myself trying to stay away from the news and finding something else to entertain myself with. And I come across these videos where people react to music that we listened to, back in the 60s and 70s. And, a lot of them are really digging the music. Oh my God, thank you for letting us know this kind of stuff. My favorite is Rob Squad Reactions. I just like how, they like the music. It would be nice or appreciated, if they just knew more about the artist, like the Traveling Wilburys song at the end of the line, not understanding that the empty rocking chair with the guitar in it represented Roy Orbison passing before, the song was finished. It gives this a lot of meaning, and that kind of stuff, that kind of nuance I wish was more understood. But it got me thinking, not so much, hey, that's a really cool song. What songs are they playing? It made me think in retrospect the things that my generation has given to the generation right now in this current day and age. And the number one thing is music, without a doubt. I mean, this music has transcended time. It's been around for over 60 years, some of it, and it's still being played today and being covered by other artists. How many times has Yesterday by the Beatles been covered by somebody? So when you think about it like that, that's one aspect. But what else happened in our generation? And, that is a benefit now that this generation is receiving. Another one is civil rights. That was signed in 1965 by President Johnson. I remember that. I was alive during that time, old enough to have a memory and the significance of it. And it offends me when I hear idiots, especially running for office, when they say, well, the things I'm going to do, this generation isn't going to be around to see them. How about thanking the generation for giving you the opportunity to be where you are now and improving upon the situation instead of being so narcissistic and self-centered, thinking you're the answer? You know what I mean? So, again, another reason I'm no party preference, right? Because my money's not going to go support a jackass like that. And something else that our generation has passed on and upgraded and given: space. Look at the technology that is now being used on a day-to-day basis that is being taken for granted, that during my generation was not there. We didn't have satellites in space. We didn't put a man on the moon until 1969. I was 8 years old. But now that is something that has progressed to where we have satellites that we use as communication instead of having lines run and, putting people in danger when transformers blow. I mean, there's different ways now. We have improved our technology, but you want to make changes that we're not going to be around to see. That's my opinion. So, Yeah, I think that, again, when we take the time to apply critical thinking, like with what the Supreme Court is, we're waiting for them to release, and improving upon the society you have now. My generation gave you cell phones. It's like that was never around when I was a kid. We actually got on our bike and went to go play and had football and basketball games, this block versus that block, and that's how I grew up outside playing and hanging out with the kids in the neighborhood. It was that kind of thing. So let's not forget where you came from and the things that have been given to you, and what can you do to improve upon that for posterity. That is how I think it should be looked at. Anyway, um, again, I'd like to know what you guys think, other than music and the advancements even in medicine, um, and how we can continue that. It's like each generation has something positive to offer humanity. Let's look at things that way. I don't have many more turns around the planet. I know that. I'm an old man. But, it's not about me. Everything that I talk about is for the benefit of you, like pay yourself, or how you can save money. Like I have solar and an electric car. So when I want to charge my car, I just plug it in, and the energy I get comes from the sun. So I'm not on the grid, and I love my car. I have not been to a gas station to put gas in my car in over a year. And like I said, I've been putting money aside each month on gas that I'm not spending. And it's I'm not rich, but if I want to go have a burger and a beer, I can. You know, um, so just things like that. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Get well, Zane. And my dumbass of the week. Anybody that wants to support a convicted felon to sit in the White House, you're pretty stupid. Anyway, that's all I have to say. And remember, be kind to one another, treat each other the way you want to be treated, and think, don't react. Think forward, foresee. All right? That's my opinion. Again, you guys be safe, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.